Good evening, everyone. This is Melanie Lynette here with Level 4 Weiss Schwarz, here to bring you a special Weiss Schwarz tournament report from JP World Grand Prix North America 2025-2026, held in Rochester, New York. And tonight I am happy to be here to interview with Top 8 Rinhime. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
All right. Why don't you share with the audience a little bit about yourself and your Weiss and your card game history?
So, I played some card game. I'm on the older side, as you would see. I played some card games back in the mid-90s. Right as it started. Magic, there was like this original Star Wars card game and stuff like that. But when you're a little kid, the stuff is too expensive. So I kind of dropped out of it and never got back into it until I saw, I like anime. I like Sword Art Online. And, it was some base take or something nowadays. But when it came out, I was like, hey, let me try this card game thing again. And I hadn't known anybody and bought a couple Trileks, opened up the Bushiroad, website and found out that there was a card shop like 20 minutes from my house. So did the whole, travel on down to see on a Thursday afternoon, which is when it was scheduled.
Yeah.
Like 4 o'clock, the truly the like, are people even gonna be here?
Yeah.
It was more of a Vanguard shop, but there was at least one person who played Weiss, and then that was a long time ago now, and been playing honestly every week since, basically.
Nice. I think everybody has a Sword Art Online story for finding Weiss, or a lot of us do. I know I am part of that party too, so don't feel bad.
It's just it was. Still is really popular, and the special thing about this for me was I've gotten close to doing a top cut many times. Wonderful meeting all the people in New York and then losing to them on the last round every single time.
Oh, no.
I've done well in trios.
Yep.
But never in singles.
Exciting. So other top tournament results include Bushiroad Spring Fest 2017, third place in White Plains, New York, which used to be a pretty popular trios location when we always had it in the spring, summer. And then you had another top 8 trios in between. And then Bushiroad Spring Fest 2022, you had second in White Plains, New York as well. So lots of trios tops, but this is special because it's first time going all the way with singles. So you were on the abbreviated Gakumas, or Idolmaster Gakuen is the full name of the series. Is there anything special about your deck list that you kind of designed differently than other players who are running the list?
No. Not I will say, the funny thing about this was the Spemable Brainstorm and the Climax Salvager were cards that I put in the night before.
Oh, wow.
I made a last minute sort of adjustment. Wanted to, having played just things in general, I felt that, and looking at other people's lists, being like, hey, why don't I throw these in? As strong as this deck is, and of course it is incredibly strong, as all the players know, when it goes bad, it goes really, really, really bad. And I had struggled actually to make this my choice because a lot of my games for a time period with this were so bad.
Okay.
But then I guess after playing some other lists, and I came back to it, and all of a sudden it was better. I don't know.
This list is, so I would say this deck is very, very powerful. It can be very greedy. And the reason why I say that is if you don't get off the pieces of your game to recoup the resources you spend, the deck can fall behind very quickly. Luckily, in 2025, we've entered a version of Weiss where people have cut backups and counterplay down quite a bit. And this deck kind of just sort of like flipped that on its head because it runs a very powerful on reverse level 1 combo with the Saki, and denying that, it gives you a chance to combat this deck because at the end of the day, you're pushing their resource management back. But the fact that you're forced to do that usually means that you're spending resources in your deck instead of furthering your own game. So it's kind of a double-edged sword here. Very powerful list. And I think I see adding the climax swap in the spammable brainstorm, or I bet you did the spammable brainstorm get you out of tricky situations throughout the day?
It might have been literally the MVP of the entire tournament because there were so many times just happening to be helpful in like the particular turn. It was never like a very clear like, oh yes, I absolutely want to do this, but it'll just be like, oh hey, I'm gonna be overhand size, let me throw an extra card into stock, and then 4 turns later, wow, glad I did that 4 turns ago.
Yep. Awesome. So did you have your invite before Nationals on Sunday, or did you play an LCQ?
I had my Nationals, or my invite to Nationals before.
Okay.
So we were able to have a very calm and peaceful Saturday.
Nice. Get some rest. And then round 1, you start off the day pretty strong with a win against Uma Musume, Pretty Derby, 4 Stock Soul, 4 Comeback or Door.
The main thing of Agnes and Daya that vast majority of people will be playing nowadays. Turns out this game I discovered she had never actually played against Gakamas before.
Oh, okay.
She didn't know quite what the finisher did, but it was just one of those. It was kind of a boring game, but like it was just very like we were both kind of doing our combos. Uma can just blow through their deck whenever they want.
Yeah, they're an expert. If they've got the stock and the resources, they can just go through their deck in a turn.
She was playing the event as the choice. I know one thing I did both the 2 brainstorms that I remember her hitting of the Dansu when after the brainstorm you reveal the 2. And the first one she was at 1-6 and she was like the event or the early play. And I was like, I don't really want you to have the early play. Take the event. And then she immediately threw 3 events into memory and I was like, oh, great.
This might have backfired.
But then the second time it happened, it was the early play and something else. And I was just like, yeah, no early. We don't want... That early play is really good. Didn't want her to have it. And we, both people's decks ran normally, and just I was able to, triple finish her and just forget how many I remember. I had 6 or 7.
Got it.
A normal amount of memory.
Yeah. So you were able to push max damage and go for it. Nice.
Yeah.
And round 2 continued the day pretty strong. This was a win against Tokyo Revengers, the Stock Soul Gate Pants build.
I mean, this was a perfect example of just my opponent's deck just failing. It was, honestly, I was very surprised. It was unfortunate, but they were just eating damage, but then they just couldn't get the dual laners out.
Oh, wow.
Like whiffing brainstorms, or even when they hit, they didn't clearly get what they wanted. They were playing down a climax like every turn. So they were like, they were able to kind of like theoretically do stuff, but the fact that the one time they actually got the I forget everybody's name, but the dual laner, they only got one of them, and the other one was they attacked with a Ricky.
Oh wow!
And it was just like, don't quite know, because I think it was the brainstorm to get out the Pachin, but he was 2-4 and Rickied for it.
Okay.
He was trying to get a card for 2 straight turns.
Yeah.
And when he Rickied, he clocked the card he was looking for.
Yeah, that is. So this is why some people really like these newer Rickies that it started, I believe, with the Data Live Data Bullet booster, where you basically have these Rickies that will deal the damage from other zones, either stock or from waiting room. Because sometimes, if you are down to only one copy of something in your deck, you can totally just put it in your clock off the Ricky. That's unfortunate.
It wasn't much of a game. Just one of those, the deck just didn't work.
Yep.
And if dual laners is not getting all their stock, the deck is not great.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't get there in the end. So round 3, you had a loss against the Mirror match.
This was another guy who ended up getting into top cut.
Okay.
It was basically if I had to describe it, it was like he basically just, out Gaku'd me.
Okay.
I wasn't having that great of a game, so it was that was the thing. It was he was playing the right way. It was a little weird, but then it was he's trying to to do all these things to deny me, to an extent, my combo and get himself his memory faster. I wasn't able to really get my level 1 pieces. He would leave 2 characters open, but I got 1 level 1 combo.
Yeah. And that's where this deck really struggles, is if you don't get off the Sakis, you're not genning stock, you're not replenishing hand to make up for all the stuff. And it's not that you can't recover, it's just very difficult to. And in the Mirror, where the opponent is capitalizing off of stuff, then it kind of just swings the other way.
Yeah. I technically goofed, because that was the... I was trying to make it so he wouldn't just go to 3 and just kill me. My math wrong. I was at 3-2 already, so it was one of those where I was because I didn't have any of my finisher in my hand because of all these problems. It was I couldn't have even tried to kill him.
Yeah.
So it was maybe I can get some stuff and maybe he won't just kill me, maybe. But then he clocked, leveled up, or clocked, refreshed, and leveled up, and then I was all right, yeah, this is just. I think I died to a swing, I think it was burn 1. I didn't. He didn't hit anything on the mill, and then I just died to a vanilla swing.
So round 4 turns back around. You had a win against Chainsaw Man 8 choice.
Yeah. In fact, I had just seen, I think the day before was the standby variant with the one that has the Denji and what's his name, who attack from the bottom of the deck.
Okay.
As opposed to the normal bar,
Aki, yeah.
Do all the things. So I was okay, don't quite know the choice things, so was trying to be not the card pool. I remembered it has a bottom deck bomb that with the Himeno, and so I was well, I don't know if he plays it or not, because it's a really good card. He just didn't cancel. Basically, it was another one of these games where it's just he's just not canceling damage. The power level 1 is actually a defensive thing, as opposed to so many of the combos nowadays that are just gigantic on offense, tiny on defense, like Saki.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when he doesn't cancel, you know, he had to just aggressively try to finish me because he's like, I'm so far behind. I gotta try something or else.
Yeah.
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 Obviously,
the power level 1 sits pretty good on defense. So, and that deck runs counters, and it can have a very explosive top end. But if you got off any Sakis and any of your memory stuff, you compress enough to deal with the top end of that deck, because it tends to. It's very lethal, but it can overswing sometimes, is the problem that I've seen. So, and when you get rushed up, this is a good example of a game where somebody like knew their deck, won the field, won the board, to a certain extent, but if you just don't cancel damage, you just don't get to play, which stinks sometimes.
Yeah.
All right, and then round 5. You had a win against the Ewer Camp Gold Bar Gate Pants build.
Yeah, no one really in my local picked it out. I think one person did, but I almost never played them. Mm-hmm. So like, for a deck that, you know, I've heard was incredibly powerful, I didn't really know what it did. Mm-hmm. Like I remembered like it had the tent, we'd like get markers, and then there was, you know, you get pluses on that. And I remembered when I was sort of trying to figure out my game with my stock, because I remember it had some, you know, stock thing, but I don't know what card. You know, it was one of those where it's like, I don't know. Like I asked him, and he's like, "Just you don't see it." And I'm like, okay, I don't know if that means it's there or not, or I just haven't seen it. I was this was another game where like the engine, like my deck worked, was getting the memory, getting my combos, things were going well. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want, like, if he was going to have, you know, I don't want to stack up on stock and then have a hilarious oops 7 climaxes into the stock swap.
Yeah.
So,
game was going well, but you didn't want it to go out that way. Basically,
yeah. I know I specifically, I think 2 straight turns played down my early play that has the anti-auto damage, because I had the advantage and wanted to make sure, because I knew it was a powerful finisher. Mm-hmm. So I was like, let me at least like not turn off at least one lane.
Yeah. Turn off a lane, heal. He went to level 3 first. You survived a scary finisher turn, and then your finisher turn went off. Then I guess. Yeah,
but it was I believe it was like the last. I got it on the last 3. So
oh wow! So nail biter to the end.
Yeah, like it was probably like the best game of the day, where it was like both people's decks worked really well, and it was a close game. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure he was not happy about obviously losing, but it was at least like the decks worked, and like no one just got screwed because, you know, not enough cancels, or, you know, all the reasons your deck can just fall apart.
Yeah, that makes it a very fitting round 5 for the end of main rounds for World Grand Prix. So then we had the nail biting, deck checks, and sleeve checks, and all of that. And then
I was one of the last ones to get my deck checked.
Oh, that's the worst.
I was sitting there being like, people were like, "So you got in?" And I was like, "Yes, but like, I don't know."
Like, I don't like to answer that question either positively until my deck check is done either. Don't feel bad about that. Like,
yeah, I was like, well, I qualified, but I'd like to not be. I think I was like 13th out of the 16 people or something like that.
Yeah, that's when you're like, I don't want to fail deck check, Coon. Like that, like we used to joke about it, especially back in the day. Like you'll remember this. Remember when we had to handwrite lists?
Oh yes.
The number of people who failed deck check with the handwritten lists. For those that don't know, Bushy Road required handwritten lists much longer than almost any other card game. I think the only exception to that probably is Pokemon. And just the sheer number of people that would make tiny errors, and there was just like no forgiveness for it, especially in a best of one format. So we got very used to not counting our eggs before they hatched on that stuff.
The one funny deck thing, I think this was my very first WGP. Let's say it was down in Charlotte.
Okay.
It was North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
We had to wait like 30 minutes to start because someone came late and had to do their deck, but he wanted to write all the cards in Japanese.
Oh no.
And I believe he was playing Kantai.
Oh gosh.
And it took forever.
I think forever might be an understatement unless like you're actually used to filling it out that way.
And I don't think he was Japanese.
Yeah.
That's his choice. His choice.
Oh.
But it was. I'm glad that we have online resources now.
Yeah. It makes it a little bit more streamlined. So, all right. So first round of top 16 was a win against Oshinoko, and this was 8-gate or pants.
No, it was door. Sorry, I'm sorry. It was door pants.
Okay, it was this door pants. Okay.
Losing my mind. I can write things. Yeah, it's the normal set 2 deck.
Okay. We'll update the slideshow later. All good. So normal deck.
This was a very weird game because unfortunately both of my top 16s, as you'll see, did not have a great time. But this one was like, things were kind of okay, but like my opponent could not get a climax. It was kind of funny.
Oh wow.
He used his level 1 combo once with 1 copy. Because you had all the like the level 2 that can like Kome, and just all these things, and it's just like he just could not get them. So even though like it wasn't going well, he just wasn't kind of pushing damage in the way he could have otherwise.
Okay.
Like he didn't even get out the eye that when she dies throws herself to memory until like the very end of its first deck.
Oh wow.
And so like I effectively didn't get any of my level 1 combo either. But we just had lots of cancels, and it was just a really slow game. Things got really close, and he just ended up eating a bunch right at the end. That just sort of that arc, when you're like, hey, I'm compressed, I should cancel, and then you reveal 4, and you're like, or not.
Compression is a myth. It's like one of our famous quotes in our play group all the time. Like, yeah. Mathematically, I should. And that's not happening. So, yeah. So you just got off the 1 Tamari, and you just ate a swing of 4, and that was it. So
yeah, it was like I think I got one of the burns off. I forget which one. Mm-hmm. Like that's why it was a pretty minimal. It was just like, hey, this is what I got. I guess I'll swing. Oh, cool. Well, somehow I pushed a little bit of damage and won, but it definitely wasn't one of those like, well, I felt like that game went well.
So on to top 8, which unfortunately ended in a loss against Idolmaster Shiny Colors, this being the new 8 gold bar build.
Yeah. This was a terrible game, it reminded me of a game that I played against a friend actually the previous week, where his deck failed him and he couldn't get any cards into memory. And if this deck does not get cards into memory, the deck does not work.
Yeah, your finisher is just dead in the water.
Yeah. But it just means like you're whiffing on your brainstorms. You probably didn't get any Rickies. Like you just can't just get anything. Didn't really cancel. I mean, really, neither of us canceled. But because like I did end up pushing him. Like as bad as the game was, I pushed him to level 3.
Yeah.
But I had like 3 and 25.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Or something. You know, it's one of those where I'm like, okay, cool. I'm dead.
Yeah, it's like there's a slim chance if they're right in the right spot, but that's almost never the case.
Yeah, it was just one of these, like, the last couple of turns I had to, I'm just screwed because this is just going so badly. But it's like, well, we got to keep going. But yeah, it was bad. Maybe not 25 as I rode 14, but it was it wasn't even. We had. I'm not sure the game lasted more than 10 minutes.
Oh wow, was it that? It was that bad on both sides of the table.
That's the thing. It was like neither of us canceling, but it was just it was incredibly short game. I remember, and I was just like, well, cool. Guess we're done. Oh well.
But still, congratulations, top 8. That's really, really impressive in a room of people that all like won invites and came out to play. So, any final tournament reflections you want to share with everybody?
Well, it was my first top cut ever, in a singles, and it was really, really nice. You know, it was like the feeling after the 5th round of being like, I'm 4-1, I am in what's outside the deck check, was just, man, it was just so nice to just have that feeling of like, cool, I'm in, not, well, maybe with the RNG, and I mean, with this, I was sure because I was playing Gakumas, like there was no way I was going to make it to the next 2. Because, like, yeah, how many people ended up in the top 16 with Gaku? So it was, just in general, like, there were so many other times where it was like, well, maybe, and then ending up being like 20th at, one of the English regionals or something. So it was kind of awesome. Kind of was a bummer that both the top cut matches pretty honestly bad games. It's like, you want to have like at least a good game. The only other thing is just general thanks to all the people I've been playing with, Nova, everyone in Ohio and stuff. Just I've had some bad years in the last, like, I think I won locals once this year, which is, it's not great. It doesn't make you feel, you like to do it at least more than once.
One of our newer locals top 16 at Rosemont in October, and he pointed out in his interview that he had yet to win a locals or make top at a locals, and he joked that locals is for real harder than regionals.
I mean, that's part of the thing. It's like we got there's there's a lot of good people who play, both powerful and not so powerful decks, and but it's still it can be tough when you are regularly going a whole locals day and winning like once.
Yeah.
Like even though not always playing like the most meta of decks, but it's still like it can feel really draining when it's like, oh cool, it's time to lose a bunch of games.
Yeah, that adds up. That adds up mentally quite a bit, and then I'd imagine bubbling out of a bunch of things also makes that tricky.
Yeah, that's the other part. Like they'll hopefully there'll be a little more of a, well, I've done it before now. We'll feel better going into those last rounds rather than, all right, I gotta win this last one.
Now you have the confidence. You've done it once, you can do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Special thanks tonight for Rinhime for sharing with us, and congratulations on your top 8 achievement. Excellent job, and well deserved, and well earned over many years of the game.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. This is Level 4 Weiss Shorts, Melanie Lynette signing out for the evening. Thank you for joining us. Have a great evening.